Hello, sweethearts. Freezing Inferno here again with another classic Doctor Who review, joined as always by Rainiac.
Yes, I'm back again. At least, I think I am.
I'm pretty sure you are. So last evening we sat down and watched the Peter Davison story, The Caves of Androzani, from good old 1984. Orwell would be proud. What did you think?
I'll be honest. This, much like last week's was my first sort of exposure to Tom Baker full time. This was my first exposure to Peter Davison. It was a pretty good episode from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of Peter Davison's best episodes, and, well, it's a shame that it had to be this one, because, okay, look, let's just say this, if you care about spoilers for a 30-year-old Doctor Who episode, just go, shut it off, and watch Caves of Androzani. It's really good, and you should watch it. That's the capsule spoiler-free review. From here on, we're just going to kind of spoil this, even though I don't really think it's a spoiler. But this is Peter Davison's last story. He regenerates in this one into Colin Baker.
Yeah, because that's such a great change.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Colin eventually. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on the regeneration. I'll save for when we talk about that at the end.
Yes. Well, another thing that I should mention is this one was written by Robert Holmes, who's one of Doctor Who's greatest writers. He wrote for Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, a bunch of Tom Bakers, and then he stopped for a little while, but then he came back in the 80s, wrote a little for Peter Davison, wrote like 2 or 3 Colin Baker stories, but then he died in 1985, or 1986, something like that.
So 2 years after this came out then?
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
I didn't know he was dead.
But he was a great writer, really great. He made some really, really good episodes, like this one.
Yes.
I mean, even though this is Peter Davison's last episode, it is also his best. I mean, I'm not the biggest Davison fan, to be honest. Like, a lot of his episodes, he's not bad, but just his episodes are okay. Like, I'd rather take a McCoy or a Tom Baker instead of a Davison.
Well, you know I'm a huge fan of Sylvester McCoy and Tom Baker, respectively. But as I say, this was my first sort of exposure to Peter Davison, and I didn't think he did a bad job. His Doctor was certainly very determined, which it certainly goes into what the plot of the whole episode is, and also a certain cliffhanger we're gonna fanboy about till the cows come home later on, because my God, he's very committed to his mission, and he does get some pretty good lines. I mean, there's a certain character he interacts with, and this character is very clever, or believes himself to be very clever, and Davison basically just goes and says, he believes himself to be as clever as me. What a personal affront.
Yeah, he gets some good lines off in this one.
I'm paraphrasing what he said, but that was the general sort of gist of it.
Basically that, and well, another line at the end of an episode in the cliffhanger, but we're going to get to
yes,
those.
Which we're going to get to when we talk about the cliffhangers. But the episode was not without its faults.
Yeah, that brings us to this thing. Okay. So, the villains, such as they are in this episode, we'll get a little deeper into that in a moment. But they're mostly human, let's say. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be human.
I think they're all human with the exception of what you're about to talk about.
Yeah. And then there's the magma creature.
Oh boy.
Basically, a guy in a rubber dragon suit who, you commented, looks like he walked off the set of Power Rangers.
He really did!
Just running around a cave.
I half expected the dragon sword to pop up and start fighting him. It was ridiculous. Nice whistling.
Yes. But, anyway, I'm just going to spoil pretty much the entire involvement of the magma monster. In the beginning of episode 1, he kills the soldier. The cliffhanger to episode 2 has him kill 2 people. In episode 4, Peter Davison finds the magma monster dead. That's it. That's the entire involvement of this monster.
And you don't even find out how this thing died.
I'm assuming it got shot, but
it either got
it's
shot
basically
or was
just
poisoned.
there.
But it was just there, lying on the ground, and I think Peter Davison says, "Oh, it's not your lucky day either, I see."
Yeah, it was just there to be a monster of the story. Because we needed an alien. I don't know.
And here's the thing, I'm not sure it was really needed.
No, my God, you could cut that thing out, and aside from one hilarious moment, you
Yes.
wouldn't lose anything.
Well, in fairness, that was hilarious for all the wrong reasons. Basically, you mentioned he kills a couple of people. This I assume it's a he,
Yeah, I guess we'll just call it the heat.
but he
I don't know.
kills one of them by grabbing his backpack
I know that's
and throwing him to the ground.
no, not my backpack. Dead.
My one weakness, the thing I packed around on my back.
Christ. Well, at least the other villains are a lot better.
The humans.
Yeah, the humans. Well, we should talk about those a little because wow.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few villains or certainly sinister people in this episode. In fact, with the exception of the Doctor and Peri, everyone's a dick.
Yeah, there's basically a MacGuffin miracle drug in this episode, and everybody wants as much of it as they can get their greedy hands on, whoever the hell they gotta kill. But every faction is at war with each other, and there's some people who are playing both factions. It's crazy political intrigue going on here, and everyone's just a greedy dick, and they don't give a shit about the Doctor and Peri, and everyone basically wants to lock them up or shoot them or whatever.
Yeah, it gets very. Another reason why I think Androzani is so good, the tone gets very dark very quickly.
Oh God, this is bleak as hell.
And you know I like it when the episodes are darker.
Yeah, definitely. This one is pretty dark.
I mean, I've only done like Series 7 reviews of new Doctor Who. If I were to extend it to the entire series, you would find that my more favourite reviews would be for the ones that were darker in tone.
Like a midnight?
Yeah. Midnight, Turn Left, Dalek.
Yeah, Midnight was fantastic. But,
Yeah, but that's a
Case
tangent.
Androzani. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we should talk about one particular villain of villains.
If he could even be classed as one. If he can even be classed as one.
I guess you could class him as one. Until the end, he has sort of a redeeming turn.
Yeah.
But, Sharazjek,
Oh
the
boy.
android maker hiding in the caves, or as you called him... what is it
Zoda.
called? Zoda. Not
Zoda from
Star
F-Zero
Tropics.
X.
Zoda from F-Zero X. There's a distinction. He's not Zoda from Star Tropics. He's basically a guy in a weird gimp. He looks like a cross between a gimp and the Phantom of the Opera. And he lives in a cave. And he makes androids. And he wants Peri to stay with him forever.
It's very interesting you bring up the Phantom of the Opera reference. I was getting a very Phantom-esque vibe off him.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for.
Both in terms of his appearance and also his what he does. I can't go fully into what he does because it's a big spoiler, but if you know the plot of the Phantom of the Opera, and it happens to be one of my favourite musicals of all time, by the way, you're not too far off Sharazjek's motivation.
Well, there you go. Robert Holmes taken from Phantom of the Opera. Beautiful.
Well, not so much taken as adapted, but I think he's a very well written character. I actually read somewhere, like TARDIS Wiki again, the fountain of all knowledge when it comes to this show, that David Bowie was originally going to play him.
Oh, dear God.
Which, can you imagine what that would have cost, like in the 80s?
Paris, stay with me.
When the mask
stay
comes...
with Ziggy Stardust.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Bring back the spiders from Mars. But when he eventually unmasks, because he wears a mask the entire time, can you imagine the reaction in the 80s if David Bowie had been revealed?
Man, you're talking about Labyrinth? God, the fangirls would be all over this one.
And just to make matters worse, throughout the entire fourth part of this serial, there's an ominous gong sound in the background.
Because you get it, it's Peter Davison's last episode. The gong is calling for him. Bong.
It wasn't the cloister bell.
No, it wasn't
I
the
think,
cloister bell.
because the TARDIS doesn't actually feature at all much.
Yeah, it was there at the end. Davison regenerates in it, but that's it.
But I couldn't help myself. I likened it to the Undertaker's gong.
Well, that's you. You're a wrestling fan.
Well, sort of. I'm kind of going off it, but I did say to you, if the lights went off, I was going to freak out.
Yeah. So I think we should talk about them cliffhangers because
Oh boy.
this is 4 episodes, 25 minutes long each, with a cliffhanger, and they're pretty much all really good. 3 cliffhangers. Well, 4, I guess, you count the ending, because that is a cliffhanger in itself.
Technically, yeah.
3 of them are good. I mean, we talked about one already, the random-ass dragon killing a guy by grabbing his backpack.
Yeah, but the part 1 and part 3 end on really good notes.
Yeah. And, well, spoilers again, I guess. We're not going to tell you how the cliffhangers resolve, just what they entail. You can figure out for yourself how they do it. But in part 1, basically, the Doctor and Peri are going to get shot by a firing squad. And they're standing there. The guards are holding up their guns, and they're like, present arms, ready. And you're like, oh, how are they going to get out of this one? Fire! Bang, 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 bang. You actually see the goddamn guns fire. You're like,
yeah,
you
see them get shot.
Yeah.
And even more than that, you see them go limp before the credits roll.
There you go.
And you're like, oh my god, what the hell just happened?
Oh man. They got shot, and you're wondering, well, how the hell are they going to get out of this one?
Yeah, I mean, it being part 1 kind of gives away something, but...
The resolution is a little... in my opinion, but...
It's kind of needed, though, to push the plot along.
Yeah, still.
Although I did say to you that there's a certain bullshit Stephen Moffat plot point that I frequently rant about.
Yeah,
I won't say what it is because it gives the game away, but he pulled that shit off 27 years early.
If you've watched the new series and you go and watch Caves Androzani and see the resolution to the part 1 cliffhanger, you're probably going to know what Rainiac's talking about.
We established in the City of Death Review that Moffat steals everything. He's done it again.
God damn it, Moffat. Well, he is a big Doctor Who fan. He's a classic Who fan. I
True,
guess
and he's a bit more subtle in the stealing, but still.
God damn. But that part 3 cliffhanger, that's one of the best. That's one of the best cliffhangers of Doctor Who. So the Doctor is on a mercenary ship. These mercenaries, and their leader is basically like Solid Snake.
He really is, isn't he?
He looks just he pretty much just looks like Solid Snake. He's got the gray jumpsuit, he's got the beard, and brown hair, etc.
And a bandana.
So the Doctor's in their ship, and he breaks free, and he's flying it back down to the planet that Peri is on. And Snake is holding a gun to him as the Doctor's flying. He's like, I'll fucking kill you if you don't open the door. Not a very persuasive argument, since I'm going to die anyway. And he's just like, I made a promise to my friend, and I can't back down. So you see, you're not going to stop me now! And
it's so intense.
As the ship is careening down to the planet, is about to crash land.
It's so intense. I've seen this cliffhanger out of context.
And it's still
I thought it was great then.
There's a special feature about cliffhangers on one of the DVDs, and one of the guys talking about this cliffhanger said, when I saw that as a kid, I honestly believed he could regenerate into Colin Baker in episode 4.
Yeah. It would have been interesting if he basically just hit the planet and regenerated out of the ship. That
would be something interesting for Matt Smith's eventual regeneration. Just have him do it in the, like, as sad as it would be to have him not have a full episode. Have him regenerate in the middle of an episode and get rid of that post-regeneration trauma bullshit and just have the 12th Doctor solve the problem.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I believe we're going to actually do a thing with Kachiri when you're back from vacation. Spoilers. Talking about Matt Smith's departure. But there is a sort of a belief held among certain members of the community that actually he's going to regenerate at the end of the 50th.
That could be.
And all this, the Christmas special will be his last episode, is a big smokescreen.
Well, we're kind of getting into more new Doctor Who now.
Well, I don't mind like a 20-second tangent, but yeah, you're right. So, I will just, before we mention the regeneration, since that's the last thing to mention, on the subject of villains, we have Morgus.
Oh yeah, Morgus. I forgot
What's a dick?
Morgus is just a big corporate executive dick.
He's a bit more than that, isn't he? But
yeah,
I can't go into it without spoilers, but he does things that would make your skin crawl.
I'm trying to... Yeah, I mean, he pretty much kills a guy. I'm not going to say who it is.
Don't say who it is. And then he says, oh, and by the way, have this random person shot.
Yeah. He kills a guy, blames the death on a random accident, then has orders for the person in charge of that equipment to be fucking shot.
But that's just like Morgenstern to a fine art. Although he can't emote very well.
No. He likes to break the fourth wall. He likes to stare
He
on the
loves
camera.
to break the fourth wall. It's like, hang on a minute, is he breaking the fourth wall?
And just does these Shakespearean soliloquies.
He does these monologues to camera like he's doing the opening to Richard III.
Beautiful.
Like if you've seen the TV series Nightmare, sometimes the Dungeon Master reminds me of like a Shakespearean actor. In fact, he is. That's nothing compared to this guy.
God.
I
Just
kept
imagining
expecting him
Morgus.
to turn to the camera and go, "Now is the winter of our discontent."
Morgus just turns to the camera and goes, "Ooh, nasty."
Oh God.
That's right. I've seen Spoonie's reviews.
That is and you've just given publicity to Spoonie. Good job.
Yeah. Let's talk about the regeneration.
Yes, let's, because this is the big event.
Of course, this is the moment we've been building up to. Peter Davison dying on the floor of his TARDIS. Is this death? And well, his regeneration's a bit unique. I mean, the regenerations in Doctor Who have never really been an event per se. It's just sort of, there's a weird special effect, and now it's a new guy.
I would argue Tom Baker's was a bit of an event.
I guess. I mean,
Hartnell to Troughton wasn't. Troughton to Pertwee was done off screen.
John de Pertwee wasn't really off screen so much.
Well, it didn't happen in the episode that Troughton left.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Okay.
He just descends
Pertwee
into a
to
pit
Tom
going,
Baker.
no.
And then in Spearhead from space, the TARDIS lands on Earth, and Pertwee stumbles out in Troughton's clothes and faints. That's
Alright, so he's seen in Troughton's clothes, but not ever actually regenerating it.
Yeah. And Pertwee to Baker is a bit more emotional, but it's okay.
I would agree, though, that the regenerations aren't that much of an event, except they are more now when they're in the new series. However, this one is an exception.
This one's pretty great. I mean, well, every regeneration is different. It wasn't like uniform like we have in the new series where everyone's with the big glowy golden glow. But Davison's is basically him lying on the floor while floaty heads of all his previous companions fly around him, kind of like the old Simpsons bits where, like, now the baby sleeps in the crib. Iron helps us play.
And they're all basically just saying one sentence over and over again, and I think, can we say who's there in the flashback?
Oh, yeah, you can say it.
Alright, well, Tegan's there, I think, is it Turla?
Turla.
Nyissa?
Nyissa.
Adric, who you hate.
Oh, you don't fucking know it.
That's my favourite sort of concept for an old series companion, Chameleon.
Oh yeah, Chameleon.
It's such a shame Chameleon didn't last like beyond 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And I know why, by the way. I know it's like a behind-the-scenes type thing. But anyway, that's kind of cheesy and kind of reminiscent of the End of Time ending. But then... But then the frickin' Master shows up.
Die, Doctor! Die, Doctor!
Just like a massive face, like in the middle of all these swirling images. Going, my dear Doctor, you must die! Die, Doctor! Die, Doctor!
And as he laughs, maniacally. Poof! It's Colin Baker.
Oh, God.
So, the maniacal laughter is a thing in more ways than one.
By the way, in relation to the maniacal laughter I just did, can I just say I'm now available for pantomime?
Oh, God.
Not really. I'm not an actor.
Oh, Jesus.
But no, Colin Baker shows up.
Yeah, and well...
And
that's a cliffhanger in it.
Go on.
Yeah. But that's a cliffhanger in itself. It's like, holy shit, Colin Baker, wow. But yeah, Colin wastes no time in being, well, Colin Baker. 3 eyes and 1 breath make you sound a rather egotistical young lady. And Peri asks what's happened, and Colin gets his final line of the episode. Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
You had a theory about that maybe what had happened to the 5th Doctor had kind of tainted the regeneration.
I don't know if that holds any weight. Colin Baker was just written as a...
arrogant.
Crotchety ass.
He was just written as an arrogant asshole.
Probably. And it backfired pretty goddamn bad. But
yeah,
that's a
he's
story for
by
another
far
day.
the least liked Doctor.
Well, you could argue Paul McGann because of the movie.
No, actually, he is well liked. It's just the material he comes from.
Yeah, I mean, but both McGann and Colin Baker have been redeemed by Big Finish. They're good things.
And there's still the possibility of Paul McGann showing up in the new series.
Please God, yes.
He still wants to do it. But anyway, here's the thing that struck me about Colin Baker just at the end of the episode. You pointed this out, but first of all, after the whole sort of talk where he said you expect someone else, even his little face that appears at the credits is smug as hell. It's like Peter Davison was a Ferrari and you're trading it in for a Ford Mondeo.
Oh my God. And of course, it should be noted that this wasn't the end of the series of this point. Like that season. No. They decided for some reason to give Colin Baker an extra episode. Colin Baker's first episode is the last of the series. So, what we get is, in the span of 1 week, we go from the Caves of Androzani, voted one of the all-time greats of Doctor Who, to Colin Baker's debut, The Twin Dilemma, voted one of the absolute worst. How does that even happen?
I know, I mean, talk about going from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Yeah, but we should wrap this up. I mean, it's been 20 minutes.
We should. I mean, I will just say, though, that for the fault with the random dragon, as you call it, it's a pretty damn good episode. It was actually voted in 2009 as the best episode ever.
Well, I can see that. It's definitely top 3. It's up there with City of Death, and I'd say the episode we're looking at next time.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to this so much.
Oh, you should. It's very good. So, I've been Freezing Inferno.
And I've been Rainiac.
And next time, Unlimited Rice Pudding.
Oh, yes.